All right, hello and welcome to another Mr. Pisto Plays Magic the Gathering Arena Brawl Standard or Standard Brawl. Um, we're into something a little cool, a little spicy. It's colorless Standard Brawl with Ugin the Spirit Dragon. One of the nice things is that MTG Arena and I guess the Brawl format allows you to use non-basic or basic lands, sorry, I should say. Basic lands in your deck. So you get to play all the colorless lands that come into play untapped that produce a colorless mana, plus you get to play non or regular basic lands. So we have Ugin, the Spirit Dragon, everyone's favorite planeswalker. Everyone's hated planeswalker, depending on what format you play and what have you. But it is an 8 mana, 7 loyalty planeswalker. It's +2 as it deals 3 damage to any target. -X is it exiles each permanent with converted mana cost X or less. That's 1 or more colors. Its -10 is you gain 7 life, draw 7 cards, and put up to 7 permanent cards from your hand onto the battlefield, which means we get to play 7 things for free if we get the ultimate. So let's get into the deck. There's only so many ramp spells in the format right now. As we gain more sets and get more colorless cards, the Ugin Brawl deck will be revisited and we will change up and add in what we can. So we have Alter the Parthenon or Pantheon. Your devotion to each color and each combination of colors is increased by 1. That means nothing. Add 1 mana of any color. That means something. If you control a god, a demigod, or a legendary enchantment, you gain 1 life. That means nothing. Just ramping. Heraldic Banner. When it enters the battlefield, choose a color. Whatever one you want. Creatures of the controlling color get +1. Whoa, not relevant here. What relevant is you get to add 1 mana of the chosen color. Palladium Mirror. You can tap to add 2 colorless mana. It's a 3 mana 2/2. Skyclave Relic. If you can ramp this out and kick it for 3, it's an indestructible mana rock, and when it's kicked, you get 2 copies or 2 tokens that are a copy of it, and it adds 1 mana of any color. Spinning Wheel. So for let's go back. For 6 mana, you get 3 artifacts that can tap for mana. Spinning Wheel. You can pay 3 for a artifact that taps for a mana of any color, but you can pay 5 to tap target creature, and that can be relevant because it can slow them down enough for you to play your lands so that you can get Ugin. The idea of the deck is just stall until you can land Ugin. Solemn Simulacrum gets one of our islands. When it enters the battlefield, search for your library for a basic land, put that card onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle your library. When it dies, you can draw a card. A really cool 5 mana artifact. One of the reasons why I wanted to play this deck, this card and the last card we'll talk about are the 2 reasons why I wanted to build colorless. So the colorless creatures you control get +2/+2. Whenever you tap a permanent for a colorless, add an additional colorless. Whenever you cast a colorless spell, you gain 2 life. So if you can get this down and have a couple of the non-basic lands in the deck, you can get to Ugin the turn after. Meteorite is a 5 mana artifact. When it enters the battlefield, it deals 2 damage to any target. Add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. In there because it's ramp. And there's not that much ramp in the format right now in colorless. Then we have some creatures just to slow things down. Ginger Brute, the 1 mana 1/1 with haste. But you can also sacrifice it to gain 3 life, or you can make it so it can't be blocked except by creatures with haste. Just get in the way or gain us some life. Same with the puppet. When it enters the battlefield, you scry 1, so you get to look, and then you can exile it to create a 1/1 white human creature token. So you can block something, exile, play the token to block again. Just like I said, getting as much stuff in the way so that we can get to 8 mana so we can play Ugin. Crossing Drawbridge is a 2 mana 0/4. You can tap it To give creatures you control haste until the end of turn. It is an 0/4 defender. In the way. Sorcerer's Broom is a 2-mana 2/1. When you sacrifice another permanent, you can pay 3. If you do, create a token that's a copy of Sorcerer's Broom. So there are multiple, in the removal spells when we get there, there are multiple 3 damage effects that you need to sacrifice them. Maybe, and also with Fabled Passage, if you can sacrifice Fabled Passage, it hits the Sorcerer's Broom. Crystalline Giant, probably one of the better creatures in the deck. It's a 3-mana 3/3, and at the beginning of your turn, choose a kind of counter at random. Crystalline Giant doesn't have on it flying, first strike, death touch, hexproof, lifelink, menace, reach, trample, vigilance, and a 1/1 counter. Put a counter of that kind on Crystalline Giant. Makes me think, how would you do this in real life? What is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different things. Maybe you have a 10-sided dice, hopefully. Farfinder is a 3-mana 1/1. When there's a battlefield, search your library for a basic land, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. After that, it just jumps in the way of something. Shambling Suit can get quite beefy. It's a 3-mana star 3, where its power is equal to the number of artifacts and or enchantments you control. Our whole deck is artifacts. Therefore, or almost our whole deck is artifacts. We got 1 non-artifact here. And it can have quite the power. Spark Hunter Manticore is a 3-mana 3/4, so its stats are pretty good. As you have an additional cost to cast this spell, discard a card. It has something weird with protection from planeswalkers, and you can pay 1 to deal damage to a planeswalker, or you can pay 3 to give it indestructible until the end of turn. Thaumatarg's Familiar is a 3-mana 1/3 flyer. When it enters the battlefield, scry 1, and then it just jumps in the way. Myriad Construct, it can get big. For 7 mana, or for 4 mana, you get a base power and toughness 4/4. If it was kicked for 3, it enters the battlefield with 1/1 counters on it for each non-basic land your opponents control. When Myriad Construct becomes a target of a spell, sack it and create a number of 1/1 colorless construct artifact tokens equal to its power. Oh boy, that was a mouthful. But anyways, it's a big beefy blocker that can't be targeted, so it's gonna jump in the way of something, or it's going to just in. Stolen Coiled Serpent is a 0/0 for X. Reach and Trample is protection from multicolored. It enters the battlefield with X 1/1 counters on it, so just a good creature. Then the next pile are the cards that I would like to see get replaced once the new set comes out. Hengewalker is a 3-mana 2/2, and if at least 3 mana of the same color was spent to cast it, it gets a 1/1 counter on it. So it's effectively a 3-mana 3/3, nothing special. Skyclave Sentinel is a 2/3 for 3 colorless mana, is flying and defender. You can kick it for 4. Then it enters the battlefield with 2 1/1 counters on it. And as long as it has a 1/1 counter on it, it can attack as though it didn't have defender. Forgotten Sentinel is a 4-mana 4/3 that enters the battlefield tapped. And we are stretching for playables. Well, we'll get there with the next set, hopefully. Thundering Chariot is a 4-mana 3/3 artifact vehicle. It has first strike, trample, and haste, and crew 1. So you'd have to tap creature with power 1 or greater to crew this to make it a fight. Enchanted Carriage is a 5-mana 4/4. When it enters the battlefield, create 2 1/1 mice that are white. And crew 2, so tap power, total power of 2 or more. So you could tap the 2 mice to crew Carriage and attack for 4. Prophet of the Peak is a 6-mana 5/5 that enters and scries mana. If you like the choices, there's not many, but if you like them, consider hitting that like and subscribe button and notifying yourself with the little ding ding bell at the top. Would love it, and hope you're enjoying my content. All right, on to drawing cards. So Soul Guide Lantern enters the battlefield. You exile a card from a graveyard. You can sacrifice it to exile each card in an opponent's graveyard. So if you're playing against like one of our decks we played last week, Rally, you can get rid of its graveyard. Or you can pay 1 and sacrifice it to draw a card. Golden Egg replaces itself when it enters the battlefield, draw a card. And its first ability doesn't mean anything for us. But its second ability, pay 2 mana and sacrifice Golden Egg, you gain 3 life. That can be the difference between life and death. Mazemind Tome is a 2 mana artifact that is seen play in a lot of standard decks right now. So you can tap it to put a page counter on Mazemind Tome and scry 1. You pay 2 to put a Mazemind counter and draw a card. And then if it has 4 counters on it or more, exile it, and if you do, you gain life. So a couple life gain cards and drawing. Sleeper Dart enters battlefield, again, draw a card. And you can sacrifice Sleeper Dart. Target creature doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. So it slows something down. Rare Supplies enters the battlefield tapped. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. Pay 2 and sacrifice it to draw another card. But for 4 mana and 2 turns, 2 mana a turn, you get to draw a card. Clockwork Servant is a 3 mana 2/3 with Adamant. So if you have to pay 3 of the identical color, in this case will be blue, when you cast it, you draw a card. I don't know what happened there. And the last card draw is Skyscanner. 3 mana 1/1. When it enters the battlefield, you draw a card. That's flying. We have some removal. We have a Scalding Cauldron, which is 1 mana. And then for 3 mana, you sacrifice it and it deals 3 damage to target creature. Same with Spring Draw Trap, except it costs 1 more to activate. It can do any target, and it has flash. And then our last piece of removal, which I think is actually a lot better than it looks, is the Entrancing Leer. So for 3 mana, you get a artifact that you may choose not to untap Enchanting Leer during your untap step. You can pay X and tap it to tap target creature with power X or less. It doesn't untap during its controller's untap step for as long as Entrancing Leer remains tapped. So you can tap something down on your upkeep, untap something. I believe then when you tap it again, that thing will still be asleep and you can something else sleep. Don't quote me on that. Maybe we'll find out in the videos. And the last card is the Lithoform Engine. This was another card that I thought was really, really cool. And there's another reason why I waited until I actually got my hands on one. It is a 4 mana legendary artifact. For 2 and tap, you can copy target activated or triggered ability you control. You may choose new targets for the copy. You can copy all kinds of draw and blah blah blah. Pay 3, copy target instant or sorcery spell you control. Not so much. You choose new targets, or you can pay 4 and copy the copy target permanent spell you can. Copy becomes a token. So the first activated ability and the second activated ability are what we use it for. We have 14 basic islands. I chose island to be the color of choice because I really like this Bob Ross land. Animal Sanctuary, there's a bird at least and a snake in the deck, so we can use it for that. Otherwise it's just colorless. Bonder's Enclave, we can draw cards. We have creatures that are power 4 or greater. Crawling Barrens can attack or block for generic mana. Fabled Passage gets us one of those islands. Sacrifice it to search your library for a basic land card. Put it on the battlefield tapped and shuffle your library. Then if you control 4 or more lands, untap that land. Field of Ruin, we can blow up Castle Vantress, Castle Garenbrig, someone else's land that does something. We get a blue source, they get whatever color they want. Labyrinth of Scythos is perhaps add generic mana, or you can pay 4 colorless to remove target attacking or blocking creature from combat. So it helps keep us alive so that we can get to Ugin. Radiant Fountain. When it enters the battlefield, you gain 2 life, and then you can tap it to add a colorless mana. Throne of Malkindi is a colorless land. You can put a charge counter on it for 1. You can remove a charge counter from Throne of Malkindi to add 2 mana of any one color. Spend it for cast kicker spells. We do have 2 kicker spells in the deck, so it could be relevant. We'll see. And then last is Unknown Shores. It's a colorless land. That's about it. It's a colorless land because we have Forsaken Monument, so you want all the colorless lands we can get to take advantage of its activated ability. Alright, that is my Ugin, the Spirit Dragon, standard Brawl deck tech. Once again, if you like the content, subscribe, notify, hit the like button. Have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night, wherever you are in the world. From me, Mr. Pisto, to you. Have a wonderful time, and see you in the gameplay in the next video. Alright, take care. Bye for now.